tonight I wanted to speak a little bit on honesty. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I don't recall that a lot of preachers speak on honesty, and I just kind of began thinking, about myself, about my personal life, and this was like at camp where really this thought like really grasped onto me and made me really ponder, how honest am I? And I've noticed that, wow, it's not very good, and this sermon, first of all, it goes to me. That's kind of the whole root of this. And I just kind of find it funny that kids, they kind of grow up starting to be honest, depending of course, on how they're raised. But generally, kids tend to be more honest. But as they grow up, they typically become a little less dishonest as they begin to realize more and understand more of our society. Anyhow, I want to start off talking about the importance of honesty. And honestly, in our society today, in our human relations, it's definitely one of the most important aspects of our human relations. And I found a statistic that said that the average person lies actually 13 times per week. That's a lot. And actually, a professor of psychology at the University of California Medical said that usually we don't even realize when we lie, because we tend to write it off as something so simple. Like, you told a little lie. Like, I'm trying to keep something a secret, maybe it's a surprise, whatever, but it's still a lie. I mean, if you think about it. And actually, also, USA Today cited a report that said 58.4% of people called in sick to get a day off. Well, personally, I haven't been working to that point where I have actually done this, but this next one really applies to me. 76% consistently exceed the speed limit. That one really hit me when I saw that, when I found that. And, I kind of want to ask you guys this question. Are you honest? Have you lied in the past 24 hours? Shouldn't we, followers of Christ, be the most honest people around? Should we be known for our honesty? For a biblical example, Joash in 2 Kings 12, he wanted to rebuild the temple because he saw that it was falling apart. And I kind of want to read a bit from the word here. It's so as I mentioned, 2 Kings 12, right now 9 through 12, verse 9 through 12. So Jehoiada, the priest, took a chest and bored a hole in its lid. He placed it beside the altar on the right side as one enters the temple of the Lord. The priest who guarded the entrance put into the chest all the money that was brought to the temple of the Lord. Whenever they saw that there was a large amount of money in the chest, the royal secretary and the high priest came, counted the money that had been brought into the temple of the Lord, and put it into bags. Verse 11 says, when the amount had been determined, they gave the money to the men appointed to supervise the work on the temple. With it, they paid those who worked on the temple of the Lord, the carpenters and builders, the masons and stonecutters. They purchased timber and blocks of dressed stone for the repair of the temple of the Lord and met all the other expenses of restoring the temple. In basically every profession, there are dishonest people that give a bad name to the actually honest ones. And a lot of the time, whatever they do, they keep it, they pocket it, or they maybe pay off some debts or whatever. It would be whatever their motivation may be for that. But what do you think happened in Joash's situation? In verse 15, it says that they did not require an accounting from those to whom they gave the money to pay the workers, because they acted with complete honesty. You see, if I were to ever build a building, these are the kind of people that I would want building my building. Moving on to observations, observations of honesty. Honesty, you guys have all heard this. Honesty is the best policy. You guys have heard this, because so often it's like we fall into a trap because of a simple lie, and we could have just told the truth and wouldn't have done as much damage as it did when you told the lie. I have this little story. It says 4 students arrived late to take a test, and the teacher asks, "What is their excuse?" And altogether they said, "We had a flat tire." And the teacher, without getting too upset, the teacher said that they have a special test. And the test is one question: which tire went flat? You see? You see where the problem is? When you're honest, I mean, you just get it out right away, and it's so simple. But and in Proverbs 12:19, it says, "Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue only a moment." Next, I want to talk about the fact that honesty makes you complete. As I was talking about earlier, it said that they were complete in their honesty. And in another translation, it actually says that they acted with integrity, and the word integrity comes from the word integer. And when you're referring to numbers as integers, it's a whole number. So likewise, a person of integrity is a whole person or a complete person in God. Also, honesty pleases God. We shouldn't practice honesty necessarily because of social ramifications or because society would tell us to, but we should practice honesty because, number one, it pleases God. And that is written in Proverbs 12:22. It says, "Lying lips are detestable to the Lord, but faithful people are his delight." You see, as followers of Christ, we aren't honest because society tells us to be honest. Our society isn't even honest, honestly. There's this overarching thought that we're kind of taught and we fall into, is that if you don't get caught, keep going. And that's absolutely not right. As followers of Christ, we can't abide by social norms. They say everything is subjective, but we know that there are obvious truths as Christians. We know that there are absolutes, and society reduces truth to the personal preference as long as you are sincere. But it's simply not the case. Christianity says that truth is truth, regardless of what you believe or what you feel. There are absolute truths. If you feel you're going to go to heaven, but don't believe in God, you're not going to go to heaven. You can be sincere, but you're going to be sincerely wrong. And more in conclusion, to wrap this up, I don't know where I heard this story before, but there's a boy who's ready to go swimming. He runs up to a woman and asks her these 3 questions. "Do you believe in God?" The woman replies, "Yes." "Do you go to church every Sunday?" The woman also replies yes to that. "Do you read your Bible and pray daily?" The woman, obviously confused, she replies yes. And as the kid let out a sigh of relief, he says to the woman, "Can you hold my quarter while I swim?" And it's funny because kids are so honest, and like they what we find worthless to them is a lot because they haven't had much yet. Anyway, in the same way, God is looking for honest people like that. And that's kind of what I want to leave you guys is will you be that person that God is searching for? Will you be honest? Will you be honest?